He had so many plans, all of a sudden, he went to Shoreditch. Found a lady, got pregnant. She didn't even give birth to one child, not two. She gave birth to triplets. Before you know it, demands increased. It's your boy MrCV. I'm back, and I'm back with something different. I'm back with my guy. Obviously, we've got another topic for you. There's no one else to dissect this topic.
Dr. Miles.
I was working on a construction site.
Okay.
And obviously I was chatting to one of the guys, and he's a labourer. He said to me, as I was working on another site, one of the labourers, he's been working there for 20 years. And he said that he can't associate himself with someone that's been working for 20 years as a labourer, but hasn't progressed himself.
Ooh.
But this is the plot twist. The guy that says he can't associate himself with this guy that's been working as a labourer for 20 years. He went to school for 4 years, but he's failed every single year. But when he grabs a shovel, you know, like, it might be his destiny. The point is is it important or is it necessary to progress yourself in the workplace that you've been at?
I watched one video on YouTube, I've forgotten the exact title of the video, but the CEO of a company called Manpower in the US, I believe it was the chief exec, and he was talking about the nature of the workplace and the nature of, you know, job fluidity and movement in the modern world. And he was saying that now people stay in the same job for an average of 3 years.
Wow.
Like millennials, we tend to shift around a lot. We get to this place, you've been there 2 years, I've been here too long, I need to shift somewhere else. We are into instant gratification. If we don't feel like we're reaching the top of something when we've only been there for like a year or 2 or 3, then we'll be feeling like we need to skedaddle, we need to go.
In saying that, someone actually said to me that you progress quicker when you're moving from jobs to job. The reason is because the skills and progression you need to progress. If you stay in one place, they look at it like, oh, don't really need you in terms of that progression place, because they've already got someone there that has the same level of skills and qualities as you. But if you attain the skills and quality that you need in one workplace and you go and apply it somewhere else, they'll respect you more and give you a higher role to be able to push forward.
I won't even say respect, that's quite subjective. I think probably what you mean is value. That comes more over time, I would say, as compared to someone's CV from maybe 30, 40 years ago, if they were even CVs at that time, I don't even know. Those were the days where somebody would be in the same company for 17 to 25 years. My mom has been with the same company for over 25 years. What an employer sees today, when they see, and especially if you're not a contractor, you're just someone that works full time. If they see that you were here for 1 year, or you were here for 8 months and then you moved on to something else, you were there for 2 years and you moved on to something else, especially if it's an older, more experienced person looking at your CV, they're gonna be like,
why is this person always moving?
Why do they keep jumping for? Think about it like this, relationships. Bear in mind these days, it's not even about situationships now. If you could see somebody's relationship CV and you realize that, right, they were there for 3 months, they did this over here for 6 months, they were there for about 2 weeks, they went in and did a 1-day contract over there, would you be saying to yourself that this is the kind of person that I want to be joined to? Those of us that tend to move around a lot, we're looking at it from our point of view, but we're not looking at it from the company's point of view.
Well, what about this guy that's been in the same labour work for 20 years and hasn't really progressed? For me, this was my opinion to the guy. I said to him, at least have a conversation with him to find out what was the reason why he stayed in that job for 20 years. Not everyone wants to progress. And I think sometimes we find that hard to accept, that some people just don't want to progress in their job. In the sense that some people are just happy where they're at.
I believe everybody wants to do better in life, even if it's just earning more money for your family. But the young people of today are quite different from the young people of 20 years ago. Especially in the sense that 20 years ago, this kind of technology that we have wasn't around. We have become a society of instant movement.
So is that guy in that job for 20 years, is that a good thing? Like,
Some people, as you said, they're not very ambitious. I've met guys like that. But some people, they've gone through things.
That's exactly what.
I've gone through things where, you know, I haven't given my best and I've seen that it's held me back. So everyone has gone through something, not to be an excuse, but people go through things and it holds them back. And they realize, you know what, either I move ahead or I stay where I am. Yeah. But what do you think about a guy that's in the same place for 20 years? Wait, hold on. Not the same company for 20 years. The same level for 20 years.
It depends on you as an individual. We find it weird that people are happy where they are. And sometimes, someone actually said this, it's not even about the money sometimes, it's about your happiness. And I think sometimes we forget our happiness because of the money. But another thing as well, we need to realize, the more responsibilities you have, the more mental pressure you start to deal with. A lot of people don't look at those stress or mental pressure, they just look at the money and they take it, then it starts to crumble.
But then again, now you kind of have to weigh up. Do you want the mental stress of not being able to fully provide? Or do you want the mental stress of being able to provide but being in high demand at work? You have to pick your poison now.
I don't want to say he's ignorant of that guy, but for me, at least have a conversation with the person to find out what was the reason why. And obviously, only that person will be able to give you his reasons. And two, I believe you learn more from unsuccessful people than successful people. The reason is because at least unsuccessful people, you can see how they're like. If they're not pushing themselves enough, you might be able to think, oh, right, I don't want to do that. But when someone is highly successful, sometimes they're not able to pinpoint where they actually gain that success. This is an opportunity for you to learn from that person. And I think the guy is missing an opportunity to learn, in the sense that whatever the guy's been through and the reason why he hasn't progressed, he might look at it and think, I don't want to follow the same pathway. I don't want to follow that same way. So for that reason, you have the opportunity to learn.
If this guy has been at his level for 20 years, you have to be careful how you approach an older guy to speak about such things. If you say I don't want to associate myself with him, fair enough. Also, you have to take into account, I know we don't like to talk about this, but ethnic background. You know, I've heard stories from some of the guys, fair enough, they could be crying wolf. They seem to say that when it comes time to promote and things like that, they say, I put in the same work as so-and-so.
Well, you don't get that.
But why is it that he's been promoted and I'm still here? It's coming from the older guys that have been there for 15, 20 years, you know? There's a darker side of ambition and success. I work around a lot of very well-to-do, I'm talking partners of the firm. The young people that want to be in these kinds of positions, they tend to think about money a lot. Everybody thinks that what they want, they're going to want when they get there. In real life, you only want the things that you don't have.
We want all this money, we want to look after the family, but sometimes, all this money that we get, we don't even look after ourselves. We're not even making ourselves happy. One thing the guy was saying, that he said that he could have picked up a new trade or learned something. But when you're in the workplace, you have designated role. You can't leave your role and say, oh, because I want to progress, let me come and start learning, because you don't have the time for you to be doing that. We've created a mindset that certain jobs are good and certain jobs are not good. What you need to start to realize, a lot of people, they look at professional jobs. It's okay, but professional jobs are based on status, name. When you actually go into professional jobs, the pay is not even that great. When you go into it yourself, you think, so I studied 4 years for this?
When you look at the things you do from your perspective, from your personal perspective, most of the time you're thinking about the status because it makes me look good.
I'm going to disagree with that, because a lot of the time it's not us that cares about the status. It's the people around us that care about the status.
That's another thing as well. You need to know where you are. You can't look at other people and say, I don't want to be like you. Are like them already. There's nothing to say that you won't be like them in 5 years' time.
You know what the funny part is? The guy said that he's not going to do labouring after leaving labouring. Guess what?
Well,
he's back doing labouring.
Amen.
Again.
You really have to humble yourself before you speak about the position people are in, especially when you're in the same position. You're speaking of yourself. The main reason this guy doesn't want to, it seems he doesn't want to associate with this labourer that's been here for 20 years. Number one, he doesn't want to be in his position, but the question is why? It's not necessarily just money. It's a lot of guys that see people in these positions and they've been there for 15, 20 plus years. There's an emotional side to it. Guys look at themselves in terms of what they can offer. And very importantly, what they can offer to women. That's why a lot of guys, when they're doing a certain job, they're very conscious of how they appear to other people, namely women. There's always a deeper reason as to why we want to associate with this person and we don't want to associate with that person. In marketing, we call this aspirational and disassociative groups. Dissociative groups. Aspirational being we want to be a part of that group. We aspire to be like these people. Dissociative means we don't want to be associated with these people. We don't want anyone to look at us and think of that. That's all he's doing right now. You have to listen to what he's actually saying. He's saying he doesn't want to associate. To say that you don't want to associate with another human being, there's a deep reason for that.
That's regardless of whatever job people do, any situation can change at any time.
This is what I'm saying.
And it's my character that's more important. How I treat people. I could be a labourer and treat people better than someone that is even in a higher position. We all have to start from somewhere.
I think broke people are more scared of other broke people. I'll be honest.
That's what I'm saying. That you learn more from these unsuccessful people. Obviously, I'm not in no right to call anybody unsuccessful. But obviously, I'm just using that as a generalistic term. When you distance yourself, you're missing an opportunity to learn. And like you said, how can you disassociate yourself with a human being?
Here's who I disassociate with. Because I've worked with guys that are lazy. I've been around lazy guys, and when I see that, I keep my distance from them. Because I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to join in lazy. Lazy guys love laziness. And I know laziness is a cancer. I don't stay away from them because of who they are. I love people in general. But when I see laziness and I see that, you know what, you want to hold on to laziness, you like being lazy, you don't mind it, and I say, you know what, okay, goodbye then.
Even apart from work, there's so many parts of other people that might not want to associate themselves with you because of something that you do, because of the way you are.
Yeah, so, your bad habits.
Your bad habits. So
that's the only reason really to stay away from someone. You have to understand that the country around you was built by labourers. The city that you walk through was built and supported by labourers. These are some of the hardest working people on the planet. If you're saying that I don't want to be around them, then you need to check yourself because you're in the same position as them.
It's fine to be ambitious and it's fine to want to push yourself. But you have to understand that not everybody has that capacity to handle stress and those mental fatigue that comes with being ambitious, because the higher you go, the more pressure on you. And some people crumble under that pressure. I think we're just going to leave it there. Regardless of whatever position someone's in, they're always open to talk to them. I talk to everyone. Whilst I'm talking to them, I'm learning from these people. There are things that they know that you might not know. If you disassociate yourself with them, you might miss a chance for you to learn something new. As human beings, you should treat people with respect, with humbleness, and with a sign that at least, regardless of whatever you do, you might have your own personal ambition, and that's fine. Everyone's got their own personal ambition. But don't use that to now look down on someone or look at them that they're less of you. That guy that you look down on, he might be a millionaire. We don't know.
Do you know what is so funny?
What is that?
In a job I've done before, in the last job I did a few years ago, I was working with a guy who told me that his family was actually very wealthy, as in multi-million. He works because his parents told him, if you don't work, you're not getting any of this money.
Wow.
So he's actually a multi-millionaire.
You would never have known that if you disassociate. Listen, I don't think you even need anything else after that. This is your boy, MrCV. Have a nice day. These are no right or wrong answers. These are just ways to open your mind. Just be open to learning and be open to improving yourself. Everybody wants to push themselves. But you need to make sure that mentally, physically, you're ready. So prepare yourself, make sure you're ready, and just treat everybody with respect. Here's your boy, MrCV. I'm going to leave you right there. Have a good day and keep sharing the channel, keep liking, and keep subscribing.